sometimes a single word can break a life in half. No warning, no mercy, just one breath, one decision, and suddenly everything you were building collapses into silence. That was how it happened for him, on an ordinary evening that should have meant hope, but instead became the moment he learned how heavy rejection could feel when it comes from the person you trusted most. He stood there with a future carefully planned in his mind, years of effort wrapped in quiet loyalty, believing patience would eventually be enough. But when she said no, it was not dramatic or cruel. It was calm, almost gentle, and that somehow hurt even more. The kind of no that leaves no room for arguments, no space for negotiation, no opening for hope, just finality. He walked away carrying a heart that felt too big for his chest, wondering how something that felt so right to him could be so wrong for her. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unpredictable ways life tests us before rewarding us, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that sometimes the road breaks before it heals. He had loved her quietly, steadily, without fireworks or grand gestures. Their connection grew in shared routines, late-night conversations, and the comfort of familiarity. She was the kind of woman who seemed sure of herself, ambitious, focused, always moving forward. He admired that. He thought love meant standing beside someone as they chased their dreams, even if it meant placing your own dreams on pause. For years, he did exactly that. But timing is a cruel thing. When he was ready to choose forever, she was still searching for herself. She wanted freedom, certainty, a future that felt entirely her own. His presence, no matter how loving, felt like pressure to her. And so she said no, not because she hated him, but because she was afraid of choosing a life she wasn't sure she wanted. After that night, his world changed shape. Days blurred together as he learned how to exist without her presence woven in every thought. Places they once shared became reminders he avoided. Music they loved turned into noise he couldn't bear. Friends tried to comfort him, telling him rejection was redirection, but it sounded like empty comfort to someone who had given everything and received silence in return. Still, he refused to let bitterness define him. He carried the pain quietly and poured his energy into rebuilding himself. He worked longer hours, took better care of his health, and slowly began turning loneliness into strength. He learned that love does not disappear just because it is not returned, it transforms. It hardens into resilience. It sharpens into purpose. Months passed. Then a year. His life grew fuller, steadier, calmer. The ache never completely vanished, but it softened, like a scar that no longer hurts when touched. He stopped checking her social media, stopped wondering who she might be with. He began believing that maybe some stories are meant to end unfinished. Meanwhile, her life took a different turn. The freedom she wanted arrived, but it wasn't as warm as she imagined. Independence felt empowering at first, then isolating. New faces came and went, connections formed quickly and faded even faster. The certainty she chased never fully arrived. In quiet moments, she found herself comparing every new experience to the stability she once had, to the way he listened without judgment, to the safety she didn't realize she had taken for granted. She watched from a distance as his life changed. He looked stronger, more confident, less available. The man she once knew was gone, replaced by someone who seemed grounded in himself, and that scared her, not because she wanted control, but because she realized she had underestimated what she lost. Regret doesn't announce itself loudly. It arrives softly, disguised as curiosity, then concern, then longing. She told herself she just wanted to check in, to see how he was doing. But deep down she knew the truth. The no she once spoke so easily now echoed back at her with unexpected weight. When she reached out, he didn't respond immediately, not out of revenge, but because life had finally taught him the value of pause. He had learned that love without boundaries destroys the self. He needed to know whether her return was real or simply a moment of loneliness. Her message wasn't dramatic. It wasn't manipulative. It was honest in a way she hadn't been before. She acknowledged the pain she caused. She admitted her fear. She confessed that walking away had shown her what she truly valued. And for the first time, she didn't ask him to wait or adjust. She asked him to choose freely. That was the moment he faced his greatest challenge. The man he once was would have run back without hesitation. But growth changes the way the heart responds. He had to decide whether reopening that door meant healing or reopening wounds. Forgiveness, he learned, is not the same as forgetting. Love, he learned, must be mutual to survive. They took time, real time, not rushed apologies or quick promises. They rebuilt slowly, cautiously, honestly.
He no longer chased. She no longer hesitated.
They met as equals, both changed, both humbled by loss. The hardest lesson for her was understanding that love is not guaranteed to wait forever. The hardest lesson for him was learning that sometimes people need to lose you to understand your worth. Their reunion was not a fairy tale. It was fragile, imperfect, and real. What made it beautiful was not that she came running back, but that when she did, he was no longer standing in the same place. He had moved forward, and she had to meet him there. As their story unfolded again, it carried a different tone. Less desperation, more respect, less fear, more gratitude. They learned to choose each other daily, not out of habit, but out of intention. And in doing so, they proved that second chances are not about repeating the past, but rewriting the future with wisdom. If this story is touching something deep inside you, if it reminds you of someone you lost or someone you hope to forgive, please take a moment to like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Before this story ends, we have a special request for you. Comment below with one word that represents what you believe in more: love, patience, or second chances. Your words may inspire someone who is silently struggling, because life has a way of teaching us that rejection is not always the end. Sometimes it is the beginning of growth. Sometimes the no that breaks you is the same no that rebuilds you stronger. And sometimes when someone comes running back, the real question is not whether you still love them, but whether you love yourself enough to choose what is right this time. And that choice can change everything.